Hey Mama, welcome to Free Mama Radio. I'm so glad that you were joining me on today's episode. We just hit a major pause/reset, almost like spring cleaning here at the Free Mama, and we're doing things a little bit differently. So if you missed the memo, make sure you go back and check out last week's episode so that you know all about the pruning taking place and what you can expect moving forward. In today's episode, I'm talking about the when-then strategy. Have you heard of it? It's an amazing parenting strategy, especially if you've got toddlers or kiddos who have a hard time doing what they need to do. But it turns out that this amazing parenting tool is actually hurting us as adults when it comes to making moves, trying to reach our goals, and starting a business. You're going to want to tune in, listen up, check it out. You're listening to Free Mama Radio, where we believe you can have both a successful business and show up as the mom you want to be. I'm your host, Lauren Golden, a mom who built a full-time income working part-time hours. Now, I help other moms like you learn how to work from home on your own terms, take control of your schedule, and make more money so you can live a totally awesome, guilt-free life. I am on a mission to make sure that no mother has to choose between family and financial stability. So if you've been wondering, can I really have it all? This podcast will give you the answers.
Hey, I'm so excited that you guys are joining me. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we are going to be talking about, are you when-thenning yourself? I would love to know if you've ever heard of this concept of when-then. We actually talked about this back in March. The amazing Amy McCready from Positive Parenting Solutions came in to talk to all of us about being moms and being parents and how challenging that can be, right? And last summer when I was on my RV trip, I actually am sporting my RV swag today. Last summer when we were on our RV trip, trying to live in like this tin can all together, tensions were high-ish at times. And I was like, introduced to Amy and I'm like, I can't even wait until I can talk to this person. Like we were introduced as peers, as colleagues, as business owners. And I'm like, can't even wait to talk to her 2 months. I'm buying her course. I'm consuming it all. One of the things that Amy teaches is called when-then. I think we talked about it back in March, and you can actually find that recording on Free Mama Radio, but it's a parenting tool. Like when you put your clothes away, then you can have your tablet time. When you brush your teeth and put on your shoes for school, then we can play a quick game. So it's the when-then as a parenting tool. And what I've realized this past week is that a lot of us are when-thenning our adult lives away. Like we're when-thenning ourselves away. We are not children. We do not need, most of us, maybe we need a little incentive or a bribe or a reward, but most of us don't need to remind ourselves to brush our teeth before we leave the house or to put on our shoes before we leave the house. Like we've got this on lockdown. We have a little more autonomy, right? So as adults, this can be really dangerous. So let me give you some examples from my life this past year of me when-thenning myself, and then maybe some examples that might resonate with you, okay? So last year was hard for everybody. We had COVID. We took our kids out of school. We were homeschooling. I decided to host a 2-week online event called Free Mama Live, which was amazing. And I do not regret it, but it was way harder than I anticipated it being, primarily because after announcing we were having this 2-week virtual event, my family decided to buy a house halfway across the country and move. And the timing of such decisions literally all transpired during that 2-week online event. So I don't recommend moving at the same time you're doing something really big in your business life, but this is what happened. And I told myself things like, when we move, then things will settle down, or then I won't be so stressed out. Who feels me on this? Okay. I would say things like, we moved in November. I'd say things like, well, when the holidays are over, then things will settle down and I won't feel stressed out. And then it became when Audrey's birthday is over, and when my other kiddo's birthday is over, and when my husband and I get back from our trip, and when spring break's over, and when school gets out for the summer. And alas, here we are in the last week of May. And is anybody else still waiting for things to settle down? So what happens is we when-then ourselves as adults, and it's kind of a lie, right? Like we're deceiving ourselves into putting off actually like living our lives. So I've got a few more that I came up with that I'd like to share with you guys. And if they resonate with you, I'd love to be able to hear that from you. When I have the money, then I will invest in myself. When I have more time, then I'll start my business. When I feel more confident, then I will put myself out there. When I hit my goals, then I will be happy. Have you ever when-then'd yourself and it prevents you from doing the thing you want to do or getting closer to the thing you want because we are deceiving ourselves with the when-then? Like, do y'all see how these aren't actually true? Because if we dissect these things, we're not talking about putting on shoes to leave the house or doing the chore to play the game or have the incentive. We're literally putting off the thing that we need to change the thing that we're waiting to pass. Does that make sense? Like, choose happiness in your day-to-day, and you'll probably be more likely to reach your goals. You're also probably going to start to redefine what success looks like. Once you put yourself out there and realize you don't die, right? Like, you still live after you go live or after you announce your business. You will still be breathing, although you might be hyperventilating with anxiety. Then you build more confidence as a result of doing that thing. Starting your business, a lot of people's incentive to start their business is to have more time, to control their time, right? So if we are waiting perpetually for more time to just show up, you're going to be waiting indefinitely because it will always be something, right? If it's not your event, you're moving. If you're not moving, you got the holidays. If it's not the holidays, it's somebody's birthday. If it's not somebody's birthday, it's probably spring break. And then you got stuff, and then you got summer. And then, well, when school goes back in August, then I'll have more time. You all know fall is like the craziest time of year. Like, I don't know what goes on at schools, but like, there is never a dull moment, right? In the fall. And then what do? Then we go into Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, and it all starts over again. When I have more time, then I'll actually start living my life. When I have more time, then I'll start my business. Then I'll be happy. Then I'll be less stressed out. Y'all, when-then is a parenting tool. It is not a business strategy or a strategy for living your life and making decisions. Okay? So there's always going to be something, always, 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 always. And if we when-then our life away, we don't ever allow ourselves to work through the good stuff. Last night, I had the privilege of subbing in for someone on Team Mama, and I got to run what we like to call a gratitude and attitude call. This is something that takes place in the Free Mama Squad. If you're not familiar with the Free Mama Squad, it is we call it our card-carrying Free Mama membership. We do group coaching and accountability, and we're like a family. It's a giant love fest, and we do business, but we also do personal development and just all kinds of stuff. And I got the privilege to lead this call, which was really exciting. And this concept of when-then actually showed up on this call. Remember, I told you I've been thinking about this for about a week. I've been witnessing it happen a lot. When this happens, then this happens. And last night I shared it's not really a poem, a piece of writing, we will call it. It's not really a poem. And it's called Close. And I would like to share not the whole thing, but part of it with you guys right now, if that is okay with you. So I'm going to read it to you. I can share it later on in writing as well. It's called Close, and it's by David White, and somebody in a self-care group that I am a part of. Yes, I said self-care because it's not when I have more time, I'll take care of myself, or when I hit my goals, I'll take care of myself. It's when I take care of myself, I will be strong enough to persevere and do hard things. When I take care of myself, I will have the patience and determination to pursue the things I want. We got to switch it. We have it backwards, right? So I'm part of this self-care group, and we meet once a month, and it's not a huge time commitment, and you come or you don't come, and it's not a big deal. It's beautiful. And someone just shared a teeny tiny snippet from this in the chat. And I took a screenshot of it because I read it and I was like, oh my gosh, that was written for me. Like, have you ever had that happen to you where like you hear something and you're like, oh my gosh, someone can see inside my brain and they know everything that I need right now. And that's what it was like for me. And so I Googled it I took a screenshot. I had the screenshot on my computer this entire past week. And finally, before the call last night with the Free Mama Squad members, I was like, oh my goodness, I feel called to share this. And I still feel called today to share it with you guys today. So again, it's called Close. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can go Google it. Again, this is by David White. So close is what we almost always are. Close to happiness, close to another, close to leaving, close to tears, close to God, close to losing faith, close to being done, close to saying something, or close to success, and even with the greatest sense of satisfaction, close to giving the whole thing up. Our human essence lies not in arrival. I'm going to say that again. Our human essence lies not in arrival, but in being almost there. We are creatures who are on the way. Our journey, a series of impending, anticipated arrivals. Ooh, my chest gets tight. We live by unconsciously measuring the inverse distances of our proximity, an intimacy calibrated by the vulnerability we feel in giving up our sense of separation. I'm going to jump to the end. We are, in effect, always close to the ultimate secret, that we are more real in our simple wish to find a way than any destination we could reach. I'm going to read that part again. We are more real in our simple wish to find a way than any destination we could reach. The step between not understanding that and understanding that is as close as we get to happiness. Oh, I know, close to tears. It's the second paragraph that does it for me. Every time, I'm on that second sentence and my chest just feels tight because there is so much truth in this. And I think it really defines the when then. There's close where it's not really that close, but we see it and we want it, but we're not moving. And then there's getting closer, right? And it's every inch closer. And I shared with the free mamas who are a part of this conversation that this is basically a longer description around the very cliche saying, it's about the journey and not the destination. And I think we get so obsessed with the final thing. We get obsessed with it. We get obsessed with the fact that we can't have it because I don't have enough time or I don't have enough money. And so forget it and whatever, and I'll just be over here. Or we get obsessed with the future tense. We get obsessed with the next goal and the next check mark and the next thing that we don't even ever stop to recognize how far we've come or what we've done, or are we even happy? And are we making choices in alignment with what we want? Or are we telling ourselves when I hit that next goal, then I'm going to start showing up as the parent that I want to be. When I'm making $10,000 enough, then it will be enough. No, when I'm making $20,000, then it'll be enough. When I make $1,000, I'll quit my job. And then we get there. We close that gap. We're not close anymore. We've hit the destination. We don't even acknowledge it. And we set a new gap. There's a new closeness. Nah, I'm not ready. When I'm confident, then I'll quit my job, right? When I make $5,000, then I'll be ready to quit my job. And then we hit $5,000. And what are we doing? Right? It's just, we constantly shift the thing. Why? Because it's about the journey. It's not about the destination. I'm not saying don't be a goal setter, by the way. Love goals, love forward motion, love action. And there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something. Always. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I wrote down a couple takeaways for all of you. We discussed this idea of different types of thought. So I used to be someone who really lived in the past. I analyzed every decision I made and, I should have done this. I could have done this differently. If I would have known this then, that I would have done that, or I would have dodged this. Oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. Why did I make that mistake? Just really living in the past and being very unkind to myself about it. And then through a lot of personal development, through finally quitting my job, and you probably know that story. Really, for me, it was, when I feel ready or when I make enough money, then I'll quit my job. Well, what actually became my truth is when I have a miscarriage, I'll be slapped across the face, realize I'm unhappy, and then I'll walk in and quit my job. And that's truly what happened for me in like a 7-day time frame. And it was life altering. And almost in that moment and in the actions that followed that, by force, not by self-awareness. Well, self-awareness as a result of something that I didn't ask for, right? I went on this huge personal development journey at the same time that I went on this big professional development journey of self-employment. And through that process, I then became obsessed with being a forward thinker. Where am I like, I live in the future. This is my next goal. This is my next milestone. This is the next thing I want to reach. This is the next thing I'm going to accomplish. And the challenge is we can't always live there either. I didn't even know this. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm doing so great. Like, look at me not living in the past full of regret anymore. Look at me like being this forward thinker and like optimistic and taking action and doing all of these things. The challenge is for all of my forward thinkers is you are eventually going to accomplish one of your very big goals. For me, the biggest eye opener was when I wrote and published my book. And all of a sudden it was like publishing day or whatever they call it. And it was like the middle of the night that we hit our goals. Like we hit bestseller in the middle of the night. So I woke up and I didn't even get to like experience it on my own. I saw a text message and I was like, oh, okay, well, might as well go back to bed. And it was very anticlimactic because when you're always living in the future, it's never really enough, you know? Because as soon as you accomplish a goal, you don't take the time to really feel any of the things that you've done or acknowledge them. It's all about the next goal, that it's almost like not meaningless, but dare I say meaningless. It doesn't bring with it the fulfillment and satisfaction that you anticipated when you were close. When you were close, it was exciting because you were striving. And then you arrive and you feel empty and you're like, what gives? And so what do us forward thinkers do? Well, what's the next goal? What's the next thing I can crush? It's like we're running to the finish line. What we don't realize is the finish line is when you take your last breath. Not to be morbid or depressing, but that's the finish line. The joy is in the closeness. It's about the journey, not the destination. So here are my 3 takeaways for you guys, okay? If you are someone who's like me and you struggle with being and always looking forward, you're always looking forward. If you're always focused on the next goal, my advice to you is to celebrate many, many wins. Acknowledge every step in the way. Find gratitude in the hurdles and the challenges and the struggles, and like realize that that's actually keeping you in the close longer. I know we always want to arrive and we don't like hurdles. We don't like a struggle-free life, but remember, we've already established it's always going to be something. So we might as well be grateful for them and the lessons that we can take away from them and learn to enjoy the process. Ask yourself how you're feeling. Find opportunities to actually reflect on it every step of the way and make sure you actually like what you're doing. Have fun in your business and your life. If you are doing something that you don't enjoy, that day-to-day fulfillment is going to feel challenging. Okay. Now, if you are someone who's living in the past, like Lauren from 6 years ago, if you are always filled with, I should have done this, regret, if you are always filled with the should haves, you are living just fueled with regret of things you should have been doing, you could have been doing, you didn't do, beating yourself. You know, I know we've got some lovely women in the Free Mama community who enjoy going back and auditing the things that they do. Maybe it's a Facebook Live, maybe you've been invited to do an interview. Now, if we can do this objectively and say, oh my goodness, if I did this, I'd be so much stronger next time. The end, move on, cool. But that's not what a lot of us do. We go, oh my gosh, I looked horrible. My voice, it sounds so annoying. And oh my gosh, I should have said like these 19 things. And then we dwell on it. And then we're stuck. We're staying in the past. If that's you, I want you to start a gratitude practice. Okay. I want you to start thinking about what you're grateful for and write it down. What are you grateful for? What are you proud of? What are you excited about? What do you like about yourself? Like all of these are things that can bring us back to the here and now. So that's what we're doing. Whether you're up here, you're a forward thinker, I'm trying to bring you back to the here and now, right? Live your life because it's not when, your life's happening right now. As you're listening to this, your life is happening, right? It's not when. Your life isn't going to start when something else happens. It's right now. So if you're forward thinking, I want to bring you back by enjoying the process more and celebrating your many, 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 many wins. If you are always living in the past, I want to bring you to the present by focusing on what you're grateful for in the here and now and finding that joy. And if you are someone who does feel like you do a decent job of being in the here and now, but you are constantly filled with overwhelm. Okay. So these are when I finish this project, then things will be better. When I let go of that client, then I'll take self-care. When I finish this for someone else, then this will happen. Like if you're when-thenning yourself towards sanity, give yourself, this is one of my favorite Laurenisms. That's a word that I made up for things that I say over and over again. Give yourself what you need before you need it. Give yourself what you need before you need it. So we have to have some self-awareness for this as well, right? So what are those things that fill your cup? What's something that you've done? Maybe it's been a long time. I'm talking to moms. Maybe it's been years since you've done the thing that fills you up. Is it a pedicure? Is it going to the gym? Is it reading a book by yourself? Is it treating yourself to Starbucks? Is it lunch with your mom? Is it a phone call with your best friend from college? Is it a yoga class? Is it a dance party? What are those things that fill you up? And start incorporating them into your everyday life. Self-care is not a reward system. It's not when I do my work, then I will take care of myself. It's when I take care of myself, then I will be a better mom, be a better business owner, and be a better wife. And we've got this backwards, okay? So then, it's an amazing parenting tool. It is terrible advice for an adult. So quit playing the when-then game. Live your life now. Enjoy the closeness. Set goals, but enjoy the process in between, because that is what this whole life is all about. Okay? All right. If you are done with the when-then, let me hear it from you. Preach it loud and proud that we are done with the when-then, except when it comes to our children. And if I can support you on your free mama journey, let me know. Head over to the freemamamovement.com and you can check out more information about what we do and how we support you all, as well as information about the squad that I was telling you guys about. All right. Okay. Have an amazing rest of your week, you guys. You've got this. You've got this. All right. Enjoy the journey.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Free Mama Radio. Don't forget to check out Free Mama TV right here on YouTube for hundreds of how-to videos and interviews to help you start, grow, and scale a virtual business from home. If you want to join a community of tens of thousands of moms just like you, make sure you join the Free Mama Movement group over on Facebook. And lastly, if you want to learn more about how we can do this together, work to achieve your goals, and make you our next success story, check out my free training at thefreemamamovement.com. I'll see you next time.